Welcome to Motivational Humanity. You are not alone.
A few years ago, I had one of those moments, a gut punch realization you can't unsee once it lands. I was sitting across from someone who said something that made me feel small. You know that feeling, that quiet sting, that tiny tightening in your chest. I laughed it off, like I always did. But driving home, this question hit me so hard I had to pull over. Why do I keep letting this happen? And then came the second truth, the one that stings even deeper, because I taught them that they could. Here's what we don't always understand: people don't randomly decide how to treat us. We teach them. Every time we stay silent when our voice is needed, every time we shrink our needs to keep the peace, every time we tolerate disrespect because we want to seem easygoing or kind. Without realizing it, we're setting the standard. And what I've learned, sometimes painfully, is this: if you don't set the standard for how you want to be treated, the world will set it for you. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the quiet, powerful, deeply courageous work of teaching people how to treat us. Not through anger, not through ultimatums, but through clarity, courage, and the unwavering belief that we are worthy of respect. Because we are. First, get clear on what you're available for. People cannot respect your boundaries if you don't even know what they are. Are you available for last-minute work requests? For constant venting from friends who never reciprocate? For sarcasm disguised as just joking? Clarity is kindness, to yourself and to others. And here's where it gets tricky. Most of us believe we have clear boundaries. But the real test is simple. When someone crosses the line, do you address it, or do you let it slide? Because if you let it slide, it wasn't a boundary. It was a preference you weren't willing to protect. I used to think I was a boundary expert. I could have given a TED talk on self-respect. And then one night, a friend called again, late, with the same crisis we had walked through a dozen times. And I answered, again. I listened, reassured, offered advice, fully knowing none of it would actually change anything. When the call ended, I sat there exhausted, resentful, frustrated. And I had to ask myself, why am I upset with someone for crossing a boundary I never had the courage to name? That was uncomfortable. But here's the truth. Boundaries aren't about controlling other people. They're about controlling our own availability. If I keep answering that late night call, I'm not honoring a boundary. I'm just wishing I had one. So ask yourself, what am I available for? And just as importantly, what am I not available for? One of the most life-changing shifts I made was getting radically specific. I am available for meaningful, reciprocal friendships where we show up for each other. I am not available for relationships where I'm constantly chasing someone's attention. I am available for honest, direct communication, even when it's uncomfortable. I am not available for passive-aggressive comments wrapped in humor. I am available for hard work and deep connection. A commitment. I am not available for burnout dressed up as hustle culture. And once I got clear on that, something incredible happened. My life became simpler. The people who respected my boundaries stayed, and the ones who didn't quietly faded out. No big fights, no dramatic exits. Just a subtle shift in the way I showed up. Because here's the truth. When you are crystal clear about what you will and won't accept, you don't have to beg for respect. The right people will adjust, and the wrong ones will remove themselves. Either way, you win. Second, watch your own behavior. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Sometimes we reinforce bad treatment because we model it for ourselves. Apologizing when we aren't at fault. Laughing off disrespect. Shrinking to make others comfortable. The way we treat ourselves sets the bar for everyone else. I learned this the hard way. I used to say sorry like it was punctuation. Someone would bump into me. Oh, sorry. A co-worker would talk over me. Oh, no worries. A friend would cancel on me for the third time. It's totally fine. Except it wasn't fine. It was draining. I was drained. And then one day, someone who loved me said, you know, you don't have to apologize for existing. That one hit deep, because they were right. Somewhere along the way, I had learned that being smaller, quieter, easier was the price of being liked. And the real problem wasn't just that other people treated me that way. I was showing them I was okay with it. So I started paying attention. And let me tell you, it was uncomfortable at first. I noticed how often I dismissed my own feelings before anyone else even had the chance. I'd say, "It's no big deal," when it actually was a big deal. I'd say, "I totally understand," when I really didn't. I'd say, "It's fine," when it absolutely wasn't. And here's what I learned today: you cannot expect people to respect you more than you respect yourself. That's not how this works. If I don't take my needs seriously, why would anyone else? If I don't value my time, why would anyone else? So I started making small, honest shifts. Instead of, "Sorry for the delay. Thank you for your patience." Instead of, "Sorry for talking too much. Thank you for listening." I stopped laughing at jokes that weren't funny. Stopped downplaying my accomplishments. Stopped saying, "It's fine," when my body and heart were saying otherwise. And you know what happened? People started treating me differently. Not because I demanded it, not because I lectured them, but because I stopped acting like I was okay with less. The people who cared noticed. They adjusted. They respected the new standard, not because I forced them to, but because I finally respected it myself. Because at the end of the day, people take their cues from you. If you treat yourself like you matter, they will follow your lead. Third, communicate with courage. Setting boundaries isn't about pushing people away. It's about showing them how to be in relationship with you. That means saying, "I don't accept being spoken to that way." Or, "I value our friendship, but I need more balance." You don't have to over-explain. You don't need a courtroom defense. Just say it and let it stand. I used to believe that if people really cared, they would just know what I needed. That if they respected me, they would never cross certain lines. But here's the truth: most people are not mind readers. And if I wasn't willing to speak up, I had no right to be shocked when others treated me the way I had allowed. But let's be real. Saying what you need is hard. It feels risky. What if they get defensive? What if they think I'm overreacting? What if they leave? These fears keep us quiet, keep us swallowing frustration, smiling when we don't mean it, staying in dynamics that quietly drain our peace. I remember the first time I set a real boundary in a friendship. I had a friend who reached out only when she needed something: validation, support, a place to land. And for years, I gave it freely, until I realized our entire connection was built on her needs, not mine. So I chose something different. The next time she called mid-crisis, I listened. But instead of diving into fixer mode, I said, "I care about you, and I want to support you. But I also need our friendship to feel mutual." Lately, it hasn't. Silence. A long, heavy pause. My heart pounding. And then she said, "Wow, I didn't realize. I'm sorry." That was it. No fight, no meltdown, just clarity. And that's the thing about boundaries: they don't need drama. They need clarity, consistency, and the courage to be spoken out loud. A lot of us avoid boundaries because we think they make us harsh. But boundaries are actually the opposite. They're what allow relationships to be healthy instead of resentful, because unspoken resentment poisons connection faster than any honest, difficult conversation ever could. And yes, some people will push back. Not because they're bad people, but because they benefited from the version of you who never said no. And that's okay. Your job isn't to control their reaction. Your job is to be honest about what you need. Say it clearly. Say it kindly. Say it without apology, and then let it stand. Because the people meant for your life, they will listen. They will adjust. And the ones who can't, well, that's good information to have. Fourth, watch how people respond. Some will respect your boundaries immediately. Those are your people. Others will test them. And a few will walk away. That's not a loss. That's clarity. The right relationships will rise to meet the standard you set. The first time I truly started setting boundaries, I was terrified. I had spent years over-explaining, over-giving, and overextending myself in relationships. And when I finally stopped, when I finally started saying, when I stopped bending over backward to make other people comfortable at my own expense, something interesting happened. Some people adjusted immediately. They respected the boundary without hesitation. They didn't guilt trip me. They didn't push back. And do you know what I realized? Those were the people who truly valued me, not just what I could give them. But then there were others, the ones who tested it, the ones who went quiet, the ones who sent that passive-aggressive, "You've changed," text. The ones who tried to make me feel guilty for finally having needs. And that was hard. It made me second guess myself. Am I being selfish? Am I overreacting? Am I too much? And then there were the ones who walked away, the ones who simply disappeared when I stopped overgiving. And yes, that stung. But here's the truth. If someone only wants to be in your life when they can benefit from your lack of boundaries, they were never really in your life to begin with. They were simply using the space you provided. This is the most uncomfortable part because this isn't about them. This part is about us. What we tolerate, what we excuse, what we explain away. I can't tell you how many times I've heard, they didn't mean it like that. That's just how they are. They do so much for me in other ways. And listen, I get it. It's easier to justify bad behavior than it is to face the possibility that someone we care about might not actually respect us. But here's what I know now. When someone truly values you, when they genuinely care about who you are, not just what you offer, they will listen when you set a boundary. Not everyone will like it, but the people who belong in your life will respect it, and the ones who don't. That's not rejection. That's redirection. That's life clearing space for relationships rooted in actual respect, not convenience. So pay attention, not to what people say, but to how they behave when you stop making yourself small. The right relationships will never require you to shrink to fit inside them. Fifth, remind yourself you are worthy of respect exactly as you are. Not when you're more successful, not if you're more accommodating, not after you've earned it. Right now. The way people treat you reflects what they believe about you. But even more, it reflects what you believe about yourself. And this part, it's the hardest. Because it's one thing to set a boundary, to say the words, to walk away from what doesn't honor you. But to actually believe that you deserve respect, to believe your needs matter, that your voice deserves space, that you are worthy of kindness, that takes deep internal work. I used to think if I could just be more patient, more understanding, more helpful, more everything, then people would finally treat me with the respect I longed for. If I could just be enough, then surely they would see it too. But that's not how this works. You don't become worthy by earning it. You don't grow more valuable by giving more of yourself away. The hardest lesson I ever learned was this: if you wait for others to give you permission to believe you're enough, you will be waiting forever. Most of us were never taught how to believe in our own worth. Some of us grew up in homes where love felt conditional, where being quiet, easy, or high achieving was the price of approval. Some of us had relationships where we were valued for what we did, not for who we were. So we internalized the idea that respect, kindness, love, those were things we had to earn. But here's what I know now. The moment you decide that you are worthy of respect, not because of what you do, but because of who you are, everything shifts. Because when you believe in your own worth, you stop chasing people who don't see it. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop settling for relationships that require you to be less to be accepted. And listen, this is not easy work. It's uncomfortable. It takes practice, sometimes daily, sometimes hourly. It requires unlearning years of conditioning that taught you that being liked was more important than being respected. But it's worth it. Because the way you allow people to treat you is never just about them. It's about you. It's about what you accept, what you believe about yourself, and what you choose to allow. When you finally decide you deserve respect without conditions, your whole life changes. Because the truth is, you don't have to prove your worth to anyone. You just have to start acting like you already know it. Here's the truth: people will treat you how you allow them to treat you. Not because they're cruel, not because they're trying to hurt you, but because we all take cues from one another. We teach people what's okay, what's not, what we tolerate, and what we refuse to accept. And the good news, you get to set the standard. When you get clear on what you're available for, when you respect yourself first, when you speak with courage, when you pay attention to how people respond, and when you finally believe you are worthy of respect, everything changes. Not just how people treat you, but how you move through the world. And I won't pretend this is easy. It takes practice. It takes unlearning. It takes sitting in discomfort and resisting the urge to shrink back into old habits. But it is absolutely worth it. Because you deserve relationships built on mutual respect. You deserve spaces where you never have to prove your worth. You deserve a life where kindness is the standard. Not because you begged for it, but because you expected it. And if you take nothing else from this, take this: you don't have to demand respect. You just have to stop accepting anything less. Good luck. And remember, you are worthy. Always.